The iPhone 17 is no different from other new iPhones in that it has difficulties. Some people who got the iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 17 Pro Max, and iPhone Air early have already stated that the Wi-Fi cuts out from time to time, which doesn't sound like a good idea. It looks like the problem is that Wi-Fi randomly disconnects, but it reconnects when the user unlocks the phone. You might believe this isn't a big deal because you don't require Wi-Fi when your phone is locked. But you would be wrong. To begin with, Apple's wireless CarPlay needs a Wi-Fi connection to work. If you lose that connection, your car and phone can't talk to each other. Of course, trying to unlock your phone while you're driving is a terrible idea. Disconnecting from Wi-Fi also means that any data services will either halt or start eating up your cellular data allocation. Data is expensive, and the last thing you need is to unlock your phone and find you've burned up your entire month's allocation because you left your iPhone downloading TV series from Netflix in the background. It's not exactly known how many users are afflicted by the problem, although they have been commenting about their experiences on numerous online communities, including Reddit, Apple's support community, and the MacRumors communities. Some customers have claimed that it seems to happen while they're wearing an unlocked Apple Watch, but it isn't quite clear if this is causing the problem, because that would be a really unusual glitch. The latest iPhones are the first models to come with Apple's own N1 wireless processor, which handles Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread connectivity. It is possible that some invisible fault in the chip managed to slip through the cracks unnoticed. However, my money is on this actually being a software issue. If that's the case, the problem should be fixable with a software update. When the proper upgrade might occur is another story completely. We know that Apple has detected at least one rare fault in the iPhone 17 Air and 17 Pro's camera and has stated a remedy is incoming. It's possible that the update could address the Wi-Fi issue as well, but unless Apple offers us any information, there's no way of knowing. So if you have a new iPhone, keep an eye on that Wi-Fi connection. And if you are encountering connectivity troubles when the phone is locked, make sure to prepare accordingly, especially when CarPlay is concerned. It's also impossible to judge precisely how widespread the problem is, but there are obviously plenty of complaints about the issue. All four new versions, the iPhone 17, the iPhone Air, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max, seem to be affected to some extent. Apple hasn't made any official remark regarding the problem so far. We sought out, and will update this piece if we hear back, but some customers are reporting that they've been able to find workarounds and fixes themselves. One impacted iPhone owner was able to stop the glitch from happening by removing the handset from their HomePod, while others have found that keeping their Apple Watch locked also prevents the iPhone Wi-Fi from being unplugged. It's worth mentioning that the recently released iPhones come with a new Wi-Fi and communications processor, the N1, thus it's possible that this chip is having some early teething difficulties that could be fixed with a future software update. Indeed, in one of the forums reporting the bug, a user states that the issue has stopped occurred after they updated the newly published iOS 26.1 beta. So if you're facing this fault, it may just be a question of waiting patiently for an iOS update. On the other side, the iPhone 17 series is off to a solid start, with these phones receiving great ratings and obviously being in high demand. But now that they've landed in some customers' hands, we're hearing tales of a potential concern. As reported by Bloomberg, a number of consumers are discovering that these handsets scratch readily, with the deep blue iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max, and the space black iPhone Air presumably being the most vulnerable to obvious scratching. Most of the scratching seems to be on the glass panel below the camera block, as seen in this X post from Amos Cured, although some photographs and videos also show scratches on the camera housing. There are also tales of visible marks being left by MagSafe chargers, as you can see in photographs posted by Consomac, so it seems these iPhone sunglasses really show off harm. That's presumably why the other tints, most of which are lighter, aren't so far proving as problematic, as while they may well be just as easy to scratch, the scratches are perhaps less obvious on them. Beyond that, Apple's decision to transition from titanium on the iPhone 16 Pro series to aluminum for the iPhone 17 Pro could possibly be having an influence. That's sad, because when undamaged these are lovely phones, and the deep blue tint is extremely stunning, while the space black is expected to be highly popular, as black shades typically are. Still, we wouldn't say you should avoid these hues now. For one thing, it's unknown how prevalent these scratching claims actually are, so your phone might be alright. For example, while the scratches aren't ideal, they're purely cosmetic, thus won't harm the functionality of your gadget. And we'd always recommend putting an expensive phone in a case anyhow. It's simply arguably all the more important here. We've contacted Apple for comment on this scratching issue, and we'll update this piece if we hear back. Next, the iPhone 17 Pro Max solves significant difficulties. The iPhone 16 Pro Max and the iPhone 15 Pro Max are two phones that I've loved using for the previous 2 years. I especially appreciated utilizing the main camera on these phones to snap more images than any other smartphone camera or even my professional Sony mirrorless camera during the past 2 years. But I also suffered with the same two problems on both of those phones. First, the zoom camera was just not up to the same grade of quality as the main camera, as much I wanted it to be because I love zoom photography. Shots shot on the 5x telephoto, originally debuted on the iPhone 15 Pro models, were good for social media, but the quality would often break apart when I started editing them. So I constantly had to grab for my Sony mirrorless anytime I wanted high-quality zoom images. Meanwhile, I've been printing high-quality images from the iPhone's main camera for over a decade. The other huge problem I faced with the two titanium iPhone 15 and 16 Pro Max phones over the previous 2 years was regular overheating. Whenever I was doing a lot of photo or video shooting, when I was in crowded metropolitan locations with bad wireless signals, or when I had the phone out in the sun for extended periods, these two Pro Max phones would get tremendously hot. And as they overheated, the battery would start to drain quite quickly. That's obviously not the dynamic you want to see from a pricey, high-end phone. I was happy that Apple has addressed both problems in the iPhone 17 Pro Max, as well as the iPhone 17 Pro, which is the same identical phone, except that it has a 6.3-inch screen instead of a 6.9-inch screen and a lesser battery. Let's talk about the thermals first. Apple has replaced titanium and gone back to aluminum for the casing of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Aluminum can be up to 5 to 10 times more effective at transmitting and dispersing heat than titanium. But Apple has incorporated a vapor chamber cooling mechanism that uses deionized water to cool the phone's A19 Pro chip and enabling it to run at maximum strength while avoiding overheating. I need to perform a lot of testing over weeks and months, but I'm quite pleased that the iPhone 17 Pro Max handles the overheating issue head-on in its design. When it comes to the telephoto zoom camera, I'm also encouraged by the way Apple has tackled this in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. First, Apple improved its tetraprism zoom from a 12 megapixels sensor to a 48 megapixels sensor, matching the 48 megapixels sensor on the main camera. Then, Apple made this a 4x sensor rather than 5x, which appeared to be a puzzling reduction at first. However, having more pixels permitted an 8x zoom cropped to 12 megapixels, which Apple boldly proclaimed an optical quality 8x. Fortunately, I got to try it out, and I'm impressed by what I've seen thus far. Below is an example of what the 8x zoom lens is capable of, and it's greater quality than any zoom image I've taken with an iPhone previously. Of course, I'll need to conduct a lot more testing with the zoom camera before I can determine whether it's ready to take on more of my everyday zoom shooting. I'm also going to compare it with the Pixel 10 Pro XL zoom, which I'm also evaluating. Like last year, I want to do a detailed review of the new iPhone 17 Pro camera system, so keep a watch out for it in early October. Nevertheless, I'm now going to issue a recommendation, something I've never made before, with an asterisk. If you were like me and ran into issues of overheating and zoom problems with the iPhone 15 Pro Max or even the iPhone 16 Pro Max, I think you may want to consider the prospect of a more rapid than usual update to the iPhone 17 Pro Max this year. Again, I'm going to do additional testing before I absolutely make that recommendation, but I want to put it on your radar. I'll be undertaking more thorough testing over the following weeks, and I'll report back. I'll also keep an eye out for some attractive trade-in deals that can lessen the blow of a hasty upgrade. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.